The first business you start won't succeed. It is the harsh reality that every single business owner faces. Even if you look at someone like Mark Zuckerberg with Facebook, you would say he's the outlier. But the way Facebook started is not what it developed into. Whatever you start with, it will change drastically over time. It's my first business. If you watched some of my recent videos, you would know we were making a ton of money. We were making upwards of a few $1,000s per day, but then it blew up spectacularly and we lost every single dollar in one day on my 18th birthday. Then I got this guy George Gamon's logo tattooed on my leg, took my first ever flight to go meet him. I ended up working for him. A few months after that, I started my second business, which is right around the time when Andrew Tate was getting really popular. And because George Gamon was on YouTube, we were studying YouTube quite a bit. What we realized is we figured out what Andrew Tate was doing right away. He was doing a mass clip redistribution model where instead of paying for advertising, instead he was basically just paying for organic traffic, where people would post clips of him, which would go viral, which would give him more brand recognition, he would funnel into his product, which was, I think, Hustlers University. And we were one of the first people to figure this out. And I know that because I know who the second and third people were to figure out what he was doing. All anyone saw was, oh, every second time I scroll on my phone, I see Andrew Tate. The reason for that is because there was thousands and thousands of people posting videos of him. There's a ton of other reasons from an algorithm standpoint as to why you were seeing him. But all that matters is that I knew that there was a huge business opportunity here to do this with other people. And so I did. I took on a few clients and I started a kind of a mass clip redistribution business model. A lot of it was me funding it out of pocket, and it failed miserably. And I know why it failed. There's a list of reasons why I know why it failed today because of the knowledge that I now have. And if I was going back, I know that I know how I could have made it succeed, but it doesn't matter. I didn't have the skills. I failed, but I was paying out of pocket. I was spending all of the money that I was earning from my job and then all the money that my clients were giving me and dumping it all in to try this with as many people as possible. Either way, had to shut it down. The second was just a short form agency where I was just, I mean, this was pretty popular. I was just clipping long form content and turn it into shorts. And I was doing this for a bunch of people in the business and economic space. And I grew to 17 employees and I was making about $22,000 per month in revenue. And profit, you know how much I was making? About $2,000. The reason for this is I was spending all of my money trying to learn how to run a business. I was spending all of my money trying to learn the things that I didn't know because I didn't actually know anything. So I was taking a bunch of courses. I was doing a bunch of things because the reality was I didn't understand anything. I didn't understand business. How would you when you are 19, 20 years old? But the main principle, which is what led me to my business model today, which is all profit margins, and I absolutely love it, and I'll get into that in a minute, was I didn't care about my short-term income. I was thinking on a long-term time horizon, knowing that my businesses that I had at the time were not going to be what I developed into over the long run. But I knew it was a way where I could get some credibility. I could work with other business owners and kind of understand how they operate, and then I could fail faster. And I am very proud of myself from a few years ago thinking about this, knowing that I just needed the reps. And I was okay spending every single dollar that I made, attempting to get the reps in on business and trying to hire people, failing, doing this many, many times over. Even though I wasn't making a profit, I was learning so much. And then I could get any client that I wanted because I was simply paying out of pocket. And most of them never even paid me. Some of them did, a lot didn't. And I was just doing this all for free because I knew the more times that I tried this with more people in different niches, I would get better at it. And I did. I got a hell of a lot better at it, but I shut that business down because it didn't make money and it was never really ever going to make money. It was more so just a learning curve and a way for me to build connections with other people. So I spent a lot of time, a lot of money, and didn't really get anything tangible from it, but a ton of experience. And then that kind of led me to the next business model, which what I started with is not what I have today, but it is the same model. I started working with large businesses where I was going to help them grow their YouTube channels and all their social medias with the goal of getting more customers. But at first, all I was trying to do was how do we if I can help you 10x the amount of views that you're getting on or organic YouTube, then you should be able to get more customers. And I did that. And I was doing this with some super successful people, and it worked really well. But I knew the way to make the money is from the back end business. And so then what I started to learn was all of the back end funneling. So how do you market? Once you have new organic traffic, how do you turn them into customers? And that is how I developed my business model into not helping someone get more views, but get more customers for their business. So I started going to every single marketing conference and reading every single marketing book, just about everything. So now I know where if I can help someone get more views, I know the psychology of how to turn those views into potential customers. And then if they have a good business, and I only work with large businesses, because a lot of people have asked me, Josh, why don't you do this for yourself? Why don't you grow your YouTube channel and then start a business? Because starting a business that provides a ton of value is wildly difficult. If it takes everyone that I work with is 50 plus years old that spent 30 years building a fantastic business. And their business model makes so much money because every customer that they get ends up spending 10 to a few $100,000. One customer that I have, the minimum amount that they can have for a customer is $250,000 invested. So those are the types of people that I work with now. No one would ever do that for me. I wouldn't even feel comfortable doing that. But if I can get a small percentage of those super large numbers by helping them grow, they also have the credibility. I have no credibility whatsoever. I'm 21 years old. I have accomplished very, very little in my life. These people have done a ton, and I get to learn from them. And so for me, I absolutely love what I do, where I'm helping them grow all of their social medias, but then I'm helping them get a lot more customers. And then what has really taken it to the next level is because I understand what these business owners want is they want the results with as little time invested as possible. I will do everything for them so their time spent on this stuff goes down to the smallest potential degree that is needed, but the results are 10 times better than what they had. And since I have this pretty much dialed in right now, it is working remarkably well, but I'm just scaling very, 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 very slowly because what I have is such a good reputation. There's so much demand for what I'm doing. I don't want to mess it up by taking on more clients like some of the past mistakes I've made, even though my goal with those businesses were not to make money. And the point of this is simply, I have always just been trying to fail as many times as possible. So I was taking on as many clients as I could for the sake is I could A, B, C, D, E, F test things. When I could try 12 different things with 12 different people, I saw what worked really, really well. And I got to see that and find out firsthand because I just got so many reps in. If I was only working with one person and we were doing one of these or two of these per day, I would not have been able to learn from my mistakes as quickly. And so it has been, for me, the number one deterrent of how I've been able to make I'm making more money than I could have ever have dreamed of, and I'm living a better lifestyle than I ever knew existed at a really young age. I think because I've just gotten so much experience, and I still, on the grand scheme of things, have such little experience, but I've just sacrificed for so long making money in exchange for learning. And I'm still doing that in most cases today. And I don't care about my short-term income. My goal is still just to fail as quickly as possible and then learn from it. And every single time I have failed, all I think is, how do I not do that again? When me and my best buddy, when we lost every single dollar that we had in one day from a spectacular failure, I didn't care about the money at all. All I thought was, these were some fantastic lessons. Let's get on to the next one. And it's really, for me, this has been so easy to think this way. I mean, some people most people I talk to say, Josh, this is insane. I really don't think it is, when my goal has never really been to make money at a young age. It's really only been to how do I provide value? Because what I've always felt is just a crippling insecurity that I'm not good enough and I don't provide enough value. And usually those are the people who are super scared of losing everything. Where the business owners that I work with, they could care less if they lost everything. They don't want to, and they've set up massive wealth preservation systems because they have a ton of money. But they've learned how to make money. They've learned how to provide value to the marketplace. And the way they've done that is by failing so many times. So all I'm trying to do is just fail a lot faster so I can learn from that. And I mean, obviously, don't want to fail, but you don't learn anything when you're making money. You don't learn anything when times are going really, really good. You really learn when things suck, unfortunately. So that is how I've been methodically going about it. I just think most people are too concerned with how much money they're making today and not how much value they can provide to the marketplace, because that is the direct correlation. If you can make someone an extra $100 million, you can make unlimited money. It's just, you don't know how to make someone $100 million. You don't know how to make yourself $100 million. I obviously don't either, but I'm just trying to develop my skills every single day. And that is what has led me to increasing my income without even really trying to. I mean, I'm obviously constantly thinking about how to increase my income and grow my business, but that is a secondary metric that I'm looking at as a result of me doing a good job in every other aspect of my life. So now that I have a business model that is working, I'm still trying to develop it. And right now I have someone training with me full time who spends just about every single minute of every single day with me, learning every single thing that I do. Because one of the mistakes I've made is I hired a bunch of people, but I didn't really, like, they were just doing very low skilled labor work. With what I do now is wildly high skilled labor work. So trying to train someone from scratch to know everything that I know to where we can take on more clients is very fun. It's very interesting. It's just the next step. The next step for me is finding the best possible people to work with to where I can take this to the next level. But for that, it takes capital. So there's a yin and yang to everything. And you just figure it out day by day. The only moral of the story that I have is just fail faster. And I never, ever give advice because why would someone ever want to take my advice? I mean, I am not in that game. But I think when you perceive failure as a good thing, which I have really tricked my brain into doing, it's hard to really mess up anything because everything is about perception. And when you lose a bunch of money, which I have, and I've shut down a lot of businesses and I've made so many mistakes. But if you don't perceive it as something that is bad, then how could it be? Because what is bad or good? In most scenarios, it is simply perception. And so I don't know how I did this. I simply don't. I just view everything as positive for my long term. And when I think of things on a very, very long-term time horizon, I mean, where will my income be in 10 years from now, which is what I care about because I have no responsibility, I have no family, I have no kids, I have nothing that is reliant upon me making a living right now. So I can risk everything to try and figure out how to make more money, which I find super fun as well. But I've just tricked my brain into saying every single time something really messes up, I just instantly think, wow, at least I've learned something from this. And I think that way a lot of it is natural. And I don't know how to teach that to someone else to think that way. So there's really no advice. I'm telling you how I think about these things. I remember, this takes me back. I don't know why I just had a humongous deja vu moment. But a few years ago, when I first started figuring things out, it was after my first business blew up, but I had a direct track for where I wanted my life to go. I was going to the gym with a buddy of mine, and he was basically saying he didn't want to have any skin in the game for the business that he wanted to start. He said, it doesn't seem right to him that you have to risk to get rewarded. And I remember, and I didn't have a good answer for him as to why I thought that was wrong. But I remember sitting in the car thinking, if you have that thought process, if you are so scared of losing $500 just to learn something and to potentially grow yourself in the future, it's going to be really tough to make extreme exponential progress. You could have some very slow linear progress, but I just didn't think that there was a way without risking you could triumph, because it takes incredible amounts of risks to get any sort of reward. For me to get my first job Before I got the tattoo of George's logo on my leg, I was reaching out to dozens and dozens of people per week asking to work for them for free. I said I'd pay them $15,000 to $20,000 to work for them. I said I'd pay them over 10% of what I made after working for them for the following 10 to forever. I mean, I was so adamant about risking everything that I had to work for someone for free to pay them that I didn't understand that mentality. And I still don't. I mean, I guess I do, but that is not the way I am wired. And for me, it has worked out spectacularly, but I don't know if it would for everybody. But even after I got the tattoo, even after I met George, and I didn't get a job until a few months after that, I still just knew, even if I didn't get a job with George, I would figure something else out. And I wasn't going to just say, okay, this didn't work, that means this doesn't work. I would have just thought, how can I get smarter about this? And that's even at that time, because there was a few month period before I started working for him where I was like, shit, well, back to the drawing board. This didn't necessarily work. I have to do something else. I was just going to start knocking on businesses' doors, and I was going to get crazier and crazier. And I had my mind meant up that I was going to figure that out absolutely no matter what. And every time I would just fix some sort of approach going at it. Where I am today, I'm failing faster than I could have ever imagined. And I love it. I love every single second of it. But the reward is also so much more fulfilling than just money or living in a cool place or doing cool things. It is incredibly fulfilling just working hard for the sake of working hard. And I get people saying all the time that sounds terrible. And I feel bad for those people that you don't know what it means to work hard. And there's so much internal satisfaction that you get from it.